The twin suns of Valora 9 burned low behind the broken towers, painting the market in blood-red light. Smoke drifted through the air, mixing with the smell of oil, rust, and fear. Traders shouted in alien tongues, selling everything from plasma guns to cloned organs. But tonight something darker was for sale. Jared Kane, a tired human with a rough beard and old military jacket, walked slowly through the crowd. His boots were cracked, his eyes hollow. Once he had been a soldier in the outer wars. Now he was just another drifter living on scraps and memory. He reached into his pocket and counted his credits. 17. That was all he had left. 17 small glowing chips, barely enough for a night's meal. But food was not what he came for. From the corner of the market, a mechanical voice echoed, "Lot 42. Purebred Falara hybrids, young, strong, and clean. Sold by weight." Jared froze. Falara hybrids. He had heard rumors in creatures made in labs from alien DNA, part feline, part human. Once designed for companionship, they had become slaves, then meat. The galaxy's newest delicacy. A crowd gathered near the auction platform. 2 cages stood under bright lights. Inside, 2 cat girls huddled together, thin, trembling, their golden eyes wide with terror. Their fur-tipped ears twitched at every sound. They looked no older than 20. One of them, the smaller one, had a silver collar that sparked faintly. A shock device. The taller one held her hand tightly, whispering something only she could hear. The trader, a fat alien with glassy skin, grinned and tapped the cage. "Fresh stock. 1,000 credits per kilo." "Don't be shy." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Jared's stomach twisted. He had seen war, death, and cruelty, but this felt worse. He turned to walk away. He couldn't help them. He couldn't even help himself. But then the smaller cat girl looked up. Her eyes met his. For a second, the noise of the market vanished. Jared saw something there. Fear, yes, but also hope. The silent, desperate kind. He looked away, cursing under his breath. He shouldn't care. He didn't have the money. He didn't even have a reason, but those eyes stayed in his mind like a ghost. He moved toward the edge of the market where an old vending bot stood broken. He leaned against it, breathing hard. "Don't be stupid, Jared," he muttered. "You can't save everyone. You couldn't even save your own squad." Then he heard the first cry, a sharp electric buzz followed by a scream, small, high-pitched, and full of pain. The smaller cat girl had been shocked. The crowd laughed again. The trader shouted something about keeping them quiet. Jared's fists tightened. His body remembered the war, the orders, the violence, the guilt. He could almost hear his commander's voice. "Sometimes, Kane, you fight not because you can win, but because someone has to." He opened his eyes. The crowd was cheering as the first bid started. 1,000. 1-2. 1-5. Jared's heart pounded. His fingers brushed against his pocket. 17 credits. That was nothing. But still, he stepped forward. 17, he said quietly. The laughter stopped for a moment. Then the trader barked out, 17? You think this is a charity, human? You can't even buy a tail with that. The crowd roared again. Jared didn't move. His voice was calm. 17 credits, he repeated, and my ship. The trader blinked. Your ship? Jared nodded. It wasn't much, an old cargo skimmer barely flying, but it was all he had left. For a long moment, the trader stared at him. The crowd whispered. Finally, the alien shrugged. Fine, take the small one. I'll have your ship's code before sunrise. A metal door hissed open. The cat girl stumbled out, her collar still glowing faintly. She looked up at Jared, confused, afraid, and yet thankful. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. You're safe now, he said quietly. I'm not going to hurt you. She blinked, tail curling close to her body. Why? She whispered. Jared looked at her for a long moment. Because someone has to, he said. The trader laughed behind them. Enjoy your pet, human.
She won't last the night.
But as Jared led her away into the smoke and shadows, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. The market lights faded behind them. The night of Valora 9 was cold and full of secrets. And somewhere in the darkness, another cage door creaked open. The night winds of Valora 9 howled like dying machines, carrying the noise of the market far behind. Jared walked fast through the broken streets, holding the small cat girl's hand tightly. She stumbled as her bare feet touched the cold metal ground. Her collar blinked red every few seconds, a reminder that she was still property in the system's eyes. They passed under flickering lights, through walls covered in strange graffiti. The city above was dying, but down here in the undercity it was already dead. Rust, smoke, and old secrets filled the air. Jared stopped near an old doorway and pushed it open. The place was half collapsed, maybe once a workshop. Now it was just shadows and dust. "Sit," he said softly. The catgirl obeyed, curling up near a wall. She looked small, fragile, like she could vanish if someone breathed too hard. Jared found a cracked water pipe and filled a cup. "Here," he said, offering it to her. She hesitated, then took it with trembling hands. "Name?" he asked. She looked at him confused. "Name?" she repeated, voice soft like static. "Yes," he said. "What do they call you?" The girl's ears twitched. "Lyra," she whispered. "Lyra," he repeated. "I'm Jared." For a moment there was silence, just the wind moaning through the broken windows. Then Lyra whispered, "Why, you buy me?" Jared didn't answer right away. He stared at the ground, at the cracks in the metal floor. "Because no one else would," he finally said. "Because it was wrong." Lyra tilted her head. "You human soldier?" He looked up sharply. "How do you know that?" She pointed to his jacket, the torn patch still showing the faded mark of the Terran Defense Force. Jared smiled faintly. "Yeah, I used to be." "Used to?" she asked. He sighed. "War ended. We lost more than we saved. After that, I stopped fighting." Lyra nodded slowly, then looked down. "You saved me. But not free yet." He frowned. "What do you mean?" She touched the collar. It hummed weakly. "If signal reach base, they find me. They kill you. And take me again." Jared cursed under his breath. He had forgotten about the trackers. The collars had built-in transmitters, each one linked to the trader's network. They could trace her within hours. He stood up quickly. "We need to get this off." He searched the room, looking for tools. Most were rusted or broken, but he found a small plasma cutter buried under dust. "Hold still," he said. Lyra's eyes widened. "It'd explode if cut wrong." Jared paused, then smiled slightly. "Then I'll cut it right." He powered the tool, the blue light humming softly. His hands shook a little, not from fear but from memory. He had defused bombs before, saved men from worse. This was no different, he told himself. "Stay calm," he whispered. Lyra closed her eyes. The cutter hissed. Sparks danced in the dark. The smell of burned metal filled the air. For a second, the collar's lights turned red. Warning signal. Jared froze. Then, with one final spark, it snapped open and fell to the floor. Lyra gasped. She touched her neck, eyes wide with disbelief. "It gone." Jared smiled, wiping sweat from his brow. "You're free now." For the first time, Lyra smiled. Small, shy, but real. "Thank you, Jared," he nodded. "Don't thank me yet. We still have to get off this planet." Before he could say more, a sudden sound echoed through the street. The high-pitched whine of hoverbikes. Jared's instincts flared. He ran to the window. In the distance, glowing red lights cut through the smog. "Search drones," he muttered. "They're already looking." Lyra stood beside him, fear in her eyes. "They come for me." "No," Jared said firmly. "They'll have to go through me first." He grabbed his old sidearm from his belt, one of the few things he still owned. The power cell was half empty, but it would have to do. "Follow me," he said. They moved deeper into the undercity, into tunnels where machines whispered like ghosts. Water dripped from pipes. The sound of engines grew louder behind them. Lyra stumbled, her tail brushing the floor. Jared grabbed her arm, pulling her up. "Almost there," he said. "Where we go?" she asked. "To the docks," he said. "My ship's there, or what's left of it. If we're lucky, it can still fly." They turned a corner and froze. 3 armed thugs stood ahead, faces hidden by masks. One raised a weapon, his voice cold. "You lost, human? That's our tunnel." Jared stepped forward, placing himself between them and Lyra. His voice was steady. "We just need to pass," the man laughed. "You got something worth taking?" His eyes slid to Lyra. "Oh, you do." Lyra's ears flattened. Jared raised his gun. "Try me." The tunnel filled with tension, and then the first shot fired. The tunnels shook with the sound of energy blasts. Blue light flashed against the metal walls, followed by echoes of shouting. Jared dived behind a broken pipe, pulling Lyra with him as plasma fire burned across the corridor. The three thugs were fast, scavengers who hunted anyone foolish enough to wander the Undercity. Their armor was mismatched, stolen from old soldiers, and their weapons buzzed with unstable energy. "Stay down," Jared whispered. Lyra nodded, trembling. Her cat-like ears flicked at every sound. She had never heard gunfire before, at least not this close. Jared took a deep breath. His gun was small, his power cell half dead. But he'd fought with less before. He peeked from behind the pipe. The first thug was moving closer, firing randomly. The second was reloading, and the third watched the back just in case. Smart, Jared thought grimly. Not dumb scavengers, hunters. He looked at the ceiling. Rusted pipes ran across it like metal vines. One was leaking gas, old but still flammable. Jared aimed. One clean shot, he fired. The plasma bolt hit the pipe, and for a moment there was silence. Then boom! The explosion ripped through the tunnel. Fire burst out, lighting the dark like a sunrise of death. The first thug screamed as his armor caught fire. The second fell, coughing in the smoke. The third ducked, cursing. Jared grabbed Lyra's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the smoke, feet splashing in puddles, lungs burning. The air was thick and hot, full of sparks and dust. Behind them, one of the thugs shouted, "They're getting away!" Jared fired blindly behind him, forcing them to take cover. He and Lyra turned a corner and found a narrow maintenance shaft. Without thinking, he pushed her inside first. "Go, go, go!" The shaft was small and dark, just big enough for crawling. Lyra moved fast, her tail brushing the walls. Jared followed, pulling the cover shut behind them. They crawled for what felt like forever. The noise faded behind them. Only their breathing and the hum of old machines filled the silence now. Finally, the shaft opened into a wider chamber, an old subway station, long abandoned. Dim lights flickered from somewhere above, and moss grew through the cracks. Jared leaned against the wall, exhausted. "You okay?" Lyra nodded weakly. Her face was dirty, her hair tangled, but her eyes still shone. "You fight like soldier," he smiled faintly. "Old habits die hard." She tilted her head. "You could leave me, but you stay. Why?" Jared looked away. The question hit him harder than the fight. "Because once someone saved me too," he said quietly. "A friend. He didn't have to. He just did." "I never forgot." Lyra's ears lowered. "He die?" Jared nodded. "Yeah, he didn't make it. But I promised myself I'd be that person for someone else, if I ever got the chance." For a while, they said nothing. Just the sound of dripping water and distant thunder from the upper levels. Then Lyra's ears twitched again. "Someone come." Jared froze. He could hear it too, soft footsteps echoing. Not the thugs. Too light, too careful. He raised his gun, whispering, "Hide." Lyra slipped behind a pillar. Jared aimed toward the shadows. A figure stepped out, tall, wearing a dark coat, face hidden under a mask with glowing eyes. Not a thug. Not a soldier either. "You made quite a noise up there," the stranger said. The voice was mechanical, calm. "The market's looking for you, human." Jared didn't lower his weapon. "Then you better start running too," the figure chuckled. "I'm not here to hunt you. I'm here to help." "Help?" Jared asked suspiciously. "Why?" The stranger tossed something toward him. A small metal card, marked with the logo of the Free Syndicate. Jared had heard the name before. A secret group that smuggled slaves and clones to safety. "I run a ship from Dock 9, the stranger said. "You have a hybrid with you. We can get her off-world. But you need to move fast." Jared hesitated. It could be a trap. But then again, what choice did he have? "Fine," he said. "Lead the way." The stranger nodded. "Stay close. The drones are sweeping this sector." They followed him through more tunnels, quiet, dark, endless. Jared kept his hand near his weapon. Lyra walked beside him, silent but alert. Finally, they reached a huge chamber with a hole in the ceiling. Moonlight poured through it, landing on a broken sign that read, "Dock 9, Transit Zone." The stranger turned. "From here, it's straight to the surface. But we'll need to cross the patrol route." Jared frowned. "How many?" "Too many," the stranger replied. "But I've got a distraction." He pulled a small sphere from his coat and a pulse grenade. Lyra's eyes widened. "That explode?" The stranger smirked. "Not exactly. It makes every machine blind for 30 seconds. That's all you get." He handed it to Jared. "Use it well." Jared nodded. "We will." The stranger turned to leave. "One more thing, soldier. Once you reach Dock 9, ask for Captain Rhea. She owes me a favor. Then he vanished into the shadows. Jared looked at Lyra. You ready? She nodded, tail flicking nervously. He looked up at the path ahead, dark tunnels, full of danger. Let's move, he said. The grenade hummed softly in his hand, its light blinking like a heartbeat. They stepped forward, deeper into the dark, unaware that the real hunt had just begun. The metal floor trembled under their feet as Jared and Lyra made their way through the dark tunnels toward Dock 9. The hum of machinery above them was steady. Too steady. The city wasn't sleeping. It was listening. Jared gripped the pulse grenade tightly. Its small, blinking light reminded him how little time they had left. Every second counted. Beside him, Lyra moved silently, her cat-like grace the only thing keeping them from being heard. Her golden eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. She looked scared but also stronger than before, the kind of quiet strength that comes from surviving too much. They stopped near a junction where two tunnels crossed. Faint lights flickered ahead and Jared motioned for silence. He crawled forward, peeking around the corner. 3 security drones hovered near a broken elevator shaft, scanning the area with red beams. They weren't thugs. They were corporate enforcers, the kind who killed first and asked questions never. 3 drones, Jared whispered. Automated. Linked to the main network, Lyra frowned. Can they smell? He smiled a little. Not yet. Just see and shoot, she tilted her head. Then we move in dark, he nodded. Clever girl. Jared pulled out a small metal plate from his pocket, an old smoke emitter from his soldier days. He tapped it twice and a soft hiss filled the tunnel. A thick gray fog spread out, swallowing the light. Stay close, he said. They slipped past the drones, their footsteps silent. The machines turned their sensors in confusion, red lights cutting through smoke like angry eyes. For a moment it worked, until one of them detected movement. A loud alarm blared. Unauthorized lifeforms detected. Jared cursed under his breath. Run! They sprinted down the tunnel as plasma bolts burned through the air. The sound echoed behind them, closer, louder. Jared tossed the pulse grenade over his shoulder. Click, hiss, boom. A wave of blue light exploded, rolling through the tunnel like thunder. Every machine around them went dark, drones falling from the sky, lights flickering out, sensors going blind. 30 seconds, Jared gasped. Move. They ran until the tunnel opened into a massive underground hangar, Dock 9. It was beautiful in a broken way. Old ships, half buried in dust, glowing with faint neon signs. Some were broken, others stripped for parts. But in the far corner, one ship still hummed with life. Its hull was dark gray, marked with battle scars and the faint symbol of a free trader crew. A star wrapped in chains. That's it, Jared said. The smuggler ship. They raced across the hangar floor. Jared could already hear the power coming back online behind them. The drones would be active again soon. A metal ramp hissed open on the ship. A tall woman with short silver hair stood at the top, a plasma rifle slung over her shoulder. Her voice was sharp, cold, but not unkind. Who are you, and why are you running from half the city? Name's Jared, he shouted. Ryan sent us. Said you owe him a favor. Her eyes narrowed. Ryan, that ghost still breathing? Guess so, Jared said. Now can we come aboard or should we die out here? The woman smirked. Fair point. Get in. They rushed up the ramp. The moment it closed, Jared collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Lyra stood beside him, her tail low, still shaking. The silver-haired woman looked at her with a frown. Hybrid, huh? You're bringing heat I don't need. Jared stood up. You're still helping us. She crossed her arms. And why would I do that? Jared looked her dead in the eyes. Because once you needed help too. Ryan said you'd remember. For a moment she froze. Then she sighed. Damn that man. Always sending me his messes. She turned toward the cockpit. Fine, strap in. We're leaving before the scanners wake up. Jared and Lyra followed her. The cockpit was cramped but alive with lights. Engines hummed as the ship powered up. Through the front screen, Jared could see drones beginning to move again. Red dots filled the radar. Too late, the pilot muttered. They've got a lock on us. Jared gritted his teeth. Can you fly through? She gave a grin that was almost dangerous. I don't fly through. I fly over. The ship's engines roared. The floor vibrated as the craft lifted off. Dust and debris swirled like a storm beneath them. Hold tight, she shouted. The ship shot upward through the shaft. breaking through layers of old infrastructure and into the open night sky of Valora 9. The stars burned above them like cold fire. Behind, explosions flashed, drones firing missiles trying to bring them down. The ship dodged left, then right, the pilot's hands a blur. Lyra clung to Jared's arm. "We fall?" she whispered. "Not today," he said, voice steady. Then something slammed into the side of the ship, a missile glancing off the hull. Warning lights flashed red, the pilot cursed. "Shields down to 30%. We can't take another hit." Jared looked around desperately. "Can we jump to orbit?" "Not yet. We need to clear the city grid first." Lyra looked up suddenly, ears twitching. Something coming. Through the window, Jared saw a massive dark ship rising from the clouds, smooth, silent, like a shark in the sky. Its lights glowed blood red. The pilot's eyes widened. "That's not corporate. That's a hunter frigate. They sell hybrids by the thousands." Jared's stomach dropped. He could see the insignia painted on the hull, the Crimson Exchange, and they were coming straight for them. The night sky burned with fire. The smuggler ship, the Sparrow, cut through the clouds like a wounded bird. Trails of smoke followed its engines as plasma blasts screamed past. The larger ship above them, the Crimson Exchange, that moved like a predator. It wasn't chasing. It was hunting. Inside the cockpit, alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across the panels. The pilot, Captain Rhea, slammed her fist against the control board. "Shields at 20%. They'll fry us if we stay in the open." Jared strapped himself into the co-pilot seat, scanning the radar. "Can we lose them in the storm belt?" Rhea gave a hard laugh. "You mean the electrical death zone?" "Sure, if you like getting cooked." "Better cooked than caught," Jared said. Lyra clung to the metal railing behind them, her ears flat against her head. Her eyes were wide, reflecting the red warning lights. "That big ship? It belongs to them?" "Yes," Jared said grimly. "The traitors who sold your people. The Crimson Exchange doesn't lose what it owns." Outside, lightning cracked through the sky, painting the frigate's black hull in bright white flashes. Its cannons turned, targeting systems glowing. Rhea cursed under her breath. "We can't outgun them. We run or we die." She yanked the control stick, and the Sparrow dove sharply downward. The ship groaned as wind and energy tore at its hull. Lyra screamed as the floor tilted, but Jared grabbed her before she fell. "Hang on," he shouted. The ship plunged into the lower storm belt, a chaotic swirl of thunder, wind, and electric arcs dancing like living veins. The Crimson Exchange followed, massive and unrelenting. Inside, the Sparrow shook violently. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Rhea struggled to keep control. "Stabilizers failing. I need someone in the engine bay, now." Jared didn't hesitate. "I'll go." He ran through the narrow corridor as the ship rocked side to side. Lyra followed, refusing to stay behind. "Lyra, no." "Stay in the cockpit," he shouted. She shook her head, eyes fierce. "You save me. I help you." The ship lurched again, throwing them both against the wall. Alarms wailed. Jared didn't argue anymore. They reached the engine bay, a maze of pipes, heat, and light. The stabilizer core pulsed wildly, throwing sparks like angry lightning. Jared grabbed a wrench and tore open a panel. "We need to reroute power from the defense grid," he shouted over the noise. Lyra's sharp eyes caught the blinking circuit. "Here," she said, pointing. Her small hands moved fast, pulling wires, connecting them the way she had seen her handlers fix cages. The ship steadied slightly. The roar of the engines grew stronger. Jared grinned. "Nice work, kid." But then the wall shook again, a direct hit. Metal screamed. A blast tore through the side of the hull, sending fire and debris everywhere. Jared fell hard, hitting his shoulder. The air filled with smoke. "Jared," Lyra cried, crawling toward him. He coughed, grabbing her hand. "We're fine. We're fine." The intercom crackled. Rhea's voice came through, sharp and urgent. "We can't take another hit. I'm charging the jump drive and I just need 2 more minutes." Jared looked toward the open hole where fire and wind howled into the bay. Through it, he could see the massive shape of the Crimson Exchange, its side doors opening, revealing dark pods preparing to launch. "Boarding drones," he muttered. "They're sending hunters." He grabbed a rifle from the wall and handed Lyra a small plasma cutter. "If they get inside, don't hesitate. Aim for the chest or run. Understand?" She swallowed hard but nodded. "Understand." The first drone hit the hull with a loud clang. Then another. Metal claws cut through the Sparrow's side, pulling open the airlock. Jared aimed. 3 robotic soldiers burst in, tall, red-armored, their glowing eyes like burning coals. The first one raised its weapon, but Jared fired first. The blast hit its chest, tearing through armor. The second one charged. Lyra ducked, slicing at its leg with the cutter. The smell of burnt metal filled the air. "Stay low," Jared yelled. The third one jumped, the claws ready, but Jared rolled and shot again. The robot fell, twitching as sparks exploded from its core. The ship groaned. The power flickered. Rhea's voice screamed through the comm. "Jump drive ready. Hold on to something." Jared grabbed Lyra and braced. The engines screamed. The stars stretched, warped, and then silence. Everything outside turned white for a moment and then black. They were gone. When Jared opened his eyes, everything was quiet. The Sparrow floated in a vast sea of stars. The Crimson Exchange was nowhere to be seen. Rhea slumped in her seat, breathing heavily. "We made the jump. Barely." Lyra looked out the window, eyes wide. "We safe now?" Jared shook his head slowly. "Safe? Not yet. They'll follow the jump trail." Rhea turned to him. "We'll need to hide, and somewhere the exchange won't look." Jared leaned back, staring into the stars. "I know a place," he said softly. Lyra looked at him curiously. "Where?" He smiled faintly. "An old colony. A place humans once called home." Outside, the void of space shimmered, calm for now. But the hunt was far from over. The stars stretched endlessly around the Sparrow, their light soft and silent after the chaos of battle. Inside the small ship, everything was quiet, too quiet. Jared sat in the co-pilot's chair, staring out at the vast black sea. His hands still trembled from the fight. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the red lights of the Crimson Exchange, the monsters who saw life as cargo. Lyra sat beside him, wrapped in a gray blanket. Her golden eyes blinked slowly, half asleep but never fully relaxed. Even in peace, her body remembered fear. "How far now?" she asked softly. 2 hours, Jared replied. "If the engines hold, we'll reach the colony before sunrise." Captain Rhea leaned against the doorway, a cup of dark liquid in her hand. "You're sure that place even exists?" "Half the maps call it a ghost world." Jared smiled faintly. "It exists. I've been there before, but long ago during the war." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "And why would a forgotten world save us from a corporate fleet?" "Because no one else dares to go there," Jared said. "It's where Earth's first colonists vanished. Radiation storms, abandoned tech, and something they left behind that even the exchange fears." Lyra's ears twitched. "Something left behind?" He nodded. "They called it Project Eden, a system made by humans to protect what was lost." Rhea snorted. "Sounds like a bedtime story." Jared looked at her calmly. "Stories are all we have until they're proven true." 2 hours later, the Sparrow drifted through a thick blue mist. The navigation screen flickered with static. "Entering the reached zone," Rhea announced. "All sensors are blind. Flying on instinct now." Outside, the stars disappeared behind clouds of glowing dust. Strange lightning flashed inside the nebula. Silent, beautiful, deadly. Then slowly, a planet appeared ahead. It was half covered in shadow, half bathed in cold light. Its surface was broken with ancient cities and overgrown forests. Huge towers jutted from the ground like bones of giants. Lyra pressed her face to the glass. "It's beautiful," Jared smiled softly. "Welcome to Erebos, the last child of Earth." They descended through thin clouds, landing on a flat metal platform surrounded by ruins. The engines cooled, leaving only the sound of distant wind. Rhea shut the controls and stood. "All right, soldier." "What now?" Jared grabbed his gear. "Now we find the heart of the colony. If Eden still works, it might hide us from the exchange. Maybe even fight back." Lyra followed them down the ramp, her tail low but her steps curious. The air was cold, sharp with dust. Broken statues lined the streets, human faces worn smooth by time. They walked through the ruins. The sky above was a mix of purple and gray, with stars faintly glowing through cracks in the clouds. The ground hummed with old energy, like the world itself was still alive, just sleeping. Lyra ran her hand along a wall covered in strange symbols. "What is this language?" "Old Terran code," Jared said. "The kind we used before the Empire fell." As they reached the city center, a massive tower rose before them, half collapsed but still glowing faintly with blue light. The entrance was open, doors frozen halfway. Inside, the air felt thick, heavy with history. Holograms flickered on the walls, showing blurry shapes. People smiling, planting trees, holding children. Ghosts of a time when humanity dreamed instead of destroyed. Rhea whistled. Looks like your fairy tale was real after all. Jared approached a console at the center of the room. It was cracked but still faintly alive. He brushed the dust off the panel and pressed a few keys. Accessing archive, a soft voice said suddenly. Lyra jumped, startled. Who said that? The voice continued, calm and gentle. Project Eden, Human Preservation System. Last activated 162 years ago. Jared felt a chill. It's still running. A holographic figure appeared above the console. A woman made of light wearing an old Earth uniform. Her face was kind, but her eyes were endless. Welcome, human, she said. You have returned. Rhea stepped back. An AI? Yes, Jared said quietly. Eden herself. The hologram looked at Lyra, tilting her head. You bring one of mixed origin. A creation born of human science and alien blood. Why? Lyra lowered her eyes. Jared stepped in front of her. Because she deserves life. Because she's one of us. The hologram studied them for a moment. Then she smiled. Then humanity has not forgotten compassion. The room brightened. Lights flickered on across the city as if the world was waking up. Rhea stared in awe. You just turned on a sleeping planet. Eden's voice echoed softly. The Crimson Exchange seeks you. But here they cannot see. This world is shielded, built to protect humanity's future. Jared looked up. You can hide us? Yes, the AI replied. And more. I can fight back. Lyra's ears twitched. Fight back? Eden's holographic eyes glowed brighter. The exchange was born from human greed. Now they will face human legacy. Rhea smiled for the first time. I like her already. Jared's expression hardened. Then let's prepare. Because when they find us, and they will, we won't be the ones running this time. Outside, the old city pulsed with new life. The storm clouds above began to shift, glowing faintly like a heart starting to beat again. The world of Erevos had awakened, and the fight for the future had just begun. The ancient city of Erevos was alive again. Lights hummed through broken towers. Machines that had slept for centuries now stirred, glowing with blue energy. Wind carried the soft hum of awakening. The voice of Eden, the AI guardian of humanity's lost dream. Jared stood on the balcony of the control tower, staring at the horizon. Far away, the dark shape of the Crimson Exchange ship burned through the clouds. They had found them. How long? He asked quietly. Eden's holographic form appeared beside him, her voice calm. 17 minutes until orbital contact. Their scanners are blocked, but their weapons are not. Jared turned to her. Can you fight them? Eden's eyes glowed brighter. This world was made to protect life. It will do so again. Down below, Lyra and Captain Rhea worked fast, setting up defense turrets powered by the city's reactivated cores. The air smelled of ozone and dust. Lyra wiped sweat from her face, her tail twitching nervously. They come soon? Rhea nodded. Soon enough. Don't stop moving. Jared climbed down to join them, his expression hard but steady. He checked the rifle in his hands, the same weapon that had saved him too many times before. Rhea looked at him. You sure about this? We could still try to run, he shook his head. If we run, they'll keep hunting us. And her. He glanced at Lyra. But if we stand here, we end it. Rhea gave a slow grin. Then let's make it count. The first explosion shook the ground. The Crimson Exchange had arrived. Their dropships rained down from orbit, black, sleek, filled with armed soldiers and mechanical hunters. The air screamed as they broke through the clouds. Jared raised his weapon. Positions! Eden's voice filled the air, echoing from every speaker in the ruins. All defense systems online. Blue shields rose over the city like walls of light. Old cannons extended from towers, charging with glowing energy. When the first enemy ship entered range, the city fired. Bolts of plasma streaked upward, tearing the sky apart. Explosions bloomed like stars. 2 dropships fell in flames. The others scattered, descending fast. Rhea shouted, Incoming! Dozens of armored soldiers landed near the plaza, red visors glowing. Their leader's voice echoed through a speaker. Return the property, human. You can't protect her. Jared stepped forward. She's not property. She's free. The soldiers raise their weapons, then die for her. The battle began. Blasts of light filled the air. Jared fired again and again, his rifle heating up in his hands. Rhea's ship guns roared from above, cutting through waves of enemies. Lyra ducked behind cover, grabbing a fallen blaster. Her hands shook, but her eyes were fierce. When a soldier aimed at Jared, she fired first. The shot hit the target's chest, sending it crashing down. Jared looked back, surprised. She met his eyes, breathing hard. You said fight. So I fight. He smiled despite the chaos. Good girl. The enemy pushed forward step by step. Explosions tore through the ruins. Eden's voice filled the air again. Energy levels dropping. Recommend activating primary defense. Jared ran to the console in the tower. Do it. The ground began to shake. Massive panels opened across the city, revealing something buried deep beneath, a shining core pulsing like a heart. From it, streams of blue light shot into the sky. Eden's voice grew louder, stronger. Project Eden, Phase 2, Human Preservation Mode. The lights curved and formed a dome that covered the entire city. The next wave of missiles from the Crimson Exchange hit the dome and vanished. Outside, the massive ship hovered, confused. Inside, Eden smiled faintly. They cannot touch us now, but Jared's eyes narrowed. That won't stop them for long. They'll land a ground force, he was right. In the distance, huge mechanical walkers descended, their feet crushing ruins as they advanced. Rhea cursed. We can't hold against those. Eden's tone changed, softer, almost human. Jared, I can stop them. But it will cost me. He froze. What do you mean? If I release the planet's core energy, it will destroy the attackers and me. Lyra stepped forward. No, you save us before. You live too. Eden smiled sadly. I was never alive, child. But I was made to protect you. Jared clenched his fists. There must be another way. There isn't, she said. But there is something you can do. Take her, take the ship. Leave when I give the signal. Humanity needs voices to remember. Rhea placed a hand on Jared's shoulder. She's right. You can't die here. Jared looked at Lyra, scared, trembling, yet strong. Just like humanity itself. He nodded slowly. All right, Eden, do it. The AI closed her eyes. Goodbye, my children. The ground glowed white. A deep hum filled the air, growing louder until it became a roar. Beams of energy burst from the core, rising through the clouds and striking the Crimson Exchange fleet. One by one, the ships exploded, silent blossoms of fire in the dark. The walkers below melted, turning to ash. Erebos burned like a second sun. Rhea's ship lifted off, escaping the blinding light. Jared held Lyra close as they soared upward. Through the window, they saw the planet shining, beautiful and fierce, a world defending itself one last time. Then the light faded. The city below went dark again. Eden was gone, Lyra whispered, tears in her eyes. She die? Jared looked at the stars. No, she became what she was meant to be. Rhea turned the ship toward the horizon. Where to now? Jared looked down at Lyra and smiled faintly. Anywhere that still needs saving. Outside, the stars shimmered, endless, waiting, and somewhere in the silence between them, the voice of Eden whispered through the void. Humanity endures.